need like some intro music.
The only thing coming to mind is the theme for Superman animated.
Oh, how does that go?
It's good.
It's good.
I'm very tone deaf.
My mic is, or my speakers are really weak. Could you just a little louder? I didn't quite pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. I am.
We're live now, aren't we? You wanted me to sing in front of.
We are.
You wanted me to sing in front of upwards of 8 people.
Yes,
you monster.
I really did.
Why would you do that to these people? They're nice.
We want them to come back.
Oh, look at that. I see us. We are, look at that. We are live on the internet. We are legitimately having a live stream. Folks, welcome to Mutants and Masterminds Monday. We have Crystal.
Hi.
And we have Steve.
Hi.
And we have Alex.
Hi.
Now, Alex, this is the first time you and I have got a chance to really chat. But you've been a long time watcher, first time appearer, right?
Yes, yeah. I've been a huge fan of the show. I think it's the best part of every week getting to hear Crystal and Steve talk about the best game in the RPG industry.
Aren't they
someone's
awesome?
getting more freelance work.
You already see why we have Alex on.
That's exactly right. So, Alex, give us a quick rundown of who you are. Why you've agreed to be, sort of coerced onto a live stream to talk about Mutants and Mastermind.
Sure. My name's Alex Thomas. I am an author, a freelancer for Green Ronin for the Mutants and Masterminds product line, as well as the Blue Rose product line. And I am the GM for the Titan City Chronicles Mutants and Masterminds live stream that we're doing over at the Untold Stories Project every week.
This is our way of saying, so sorry, we really wanted to get and watch and see what you were doing. And so rather than, sort of belabor it and feel badly, we just invited you to our live stream. So,
hey, no, I definitely appreciate that. I'm happy to come talk to the internet boxes whenever you guys will have me.
And we are happy to have you. Hey, friends who are watching, drop your questions for Alex, Crystal, or Steve in the chat, and we will endeavor to either A, pretend like we didn't see it, or B, actually answer the question or find a way to lie about it.
One of those.
We're good at both, so.
Yeah, we really are. You never really know the difference because we're very good at it. How are you two doing?
Good.
Surviving. It's summer, so that is the worst season. But
I agree. I'm anti-sunshine.
I'm descended from Hungarian peasants, so I was built for the winter.
Same. Scottish here, so I'm built to not see the sun for at least 2 months out of the year.
Right, to get a little mossy.
Right.
Steve, how's the weather where you're at?
Gray and rainy, actually.
What have you done?
We apparently got Seattle's weather because it's sort of summer thunderstorms for the most part all week.
I love thunderstorms. We don't get enough in Seattle. But I want to ask, Alex, how did you manage to connect and it's sort of every tabletop kind of, as a person begins to play and they kind of unpack all the systems and mechanisms, it just lights their curiosity on fire, sometimes a little bit more intensely than maybe the talent allows. But as they continue to move through their levels of expertise, they want to do the thing you're doing. So how in the world?
Well, my story, and I assume everybody who gets involved in RPG writing or freelance writing has a wild story. I don't think there's a certain cookie cutter formula you could put it in. I just got lucky, to be honest. About 7 years ago at Origins, Steve was the guest of honor at the convention. And back then, Origins was doing this thing where they'd have a lottery and they would put the guests of honor into special games and they take them off to this special separate room and give them snacks. And they wouldn't tell you until 10 minutes before the game started that Steve Kenson was going to come play Mutants and Masterminds with you. Steve and I, Steve was in my Suicide Squad game. So I did a Suicide Squad game based on Justice League Unlimited episode where they had to sneak onto the Watchtower and steal something from the League. And all I had when they asked me if I was okay with Steve playing in the game was that sentence about what the game was going to be about and the pre-generated characters.
Oh, you
So,
run those con games.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but sometimes. So Steve sat down in the game. He played Deadshot, and he had this big, epic self-sacrifice moment with a Mazo. I think it was a Mazo they were fighting on the Watchtower.
Yeah.
And after the game, I walked up to Steve and I was like, "Hey, I saw you had an okay time. Do you think I could write Mutants and Masterminds?" And he connected me with John Lighthouser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've really got to have John on one of these someday.
Yeah, we should.
So there's a real lesson there, I think, too. One of the oft ignored or at least overlooked parts of getting work in creative spaces like this is building relationships, connecting, and not in that sort of, I'm going to hang out with you because I really want something. It's not that transactional thing as so much as it's connecting and trusting, because this creative stuff is kind of messy sometimes. And you want to know that, you can trust a person to go with the flow or help in a way that is more of a force multiplier than it is sort of a detractor. So I get that. That makes a lot of sense. And that's, I would hazard a guess that is not unusual. People who connect and sort of really have authentic relationships may find they get more opportunities than folks who are creepy and rude.
Yeah. And I mean,
sure.
it doesn't hurt that Steve's like the nicest guy in the world.
Seriously. I mean, it's kind of gross. He just had a birthday. Steve is 150 years old. I mean,
That number keeps climbing every week.
I wouldn't have guessed a day over 14.
He makes us celebrate his birthday every day.
Yes.
Presents, saying the whole thing. So now, so did you get introduced to Crystal through Steve?
I believe Crystal was given John Lighthouser's like bundle of freelancers.
Most of them. There's a bunch of people I'm discovering over the last 2 years that I just never received any of their contact information or like any notes or anything like that. So I'm feeling awful, but trying to rework those connections.
Yeah, and it was right in the middle of Rogues Gallery, I think, was when that transition sort of took place. And Crystal reached out and said, "Hey, I need a couple more rogues." And I gave her a rogue, and we've been working together ever since on a lot of cool stuff.
Yep. Alex is good for like out of the box, weird, fun ideas.
That's awesome and important. Let's talk about some of those out of the box weird ideas. Like what have you been able to contribute to?
Well, Alex, who's your favorite weird character from Rogues Gallery?
My favorite weird character from Rogues Gallery.
Yeah. You've definitely got a touch of like the literary to you or to your characters.
I like a bunch of weird characters. I think of the ones that I submitted, as far as weird goes, I really like Pandemic just because I watched a movie about a super contagion and I was like, that should be a villain by itself instead of a faceless enemy that we can't really fight against because nobody will put on a mask.
Wow, how prescient.
Right. But weird that other people put together. I really like the Candy Crew just because I thought it was going to be kind of a silly concept. But then John came up with, he made it weirder than just the weird like Candyland concept.
And didn't John say didn't that kind of rate as John's kind of favorite concept?
They've kind of become our Serpent Society. They're like,
yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, they're one of my favorite groups to throw at a team when I want them to beat somebody up that they really want to beat up.
Yeah. You know what would be a great scenario for the Candy Crew is just having heroes either intentionally or unintentionally end up crashing their tryouts.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Where they're they're having a recruitment drive and it's like, well, we don't know exactly what candy theme is going to go with your powers yet, but we're workshopping some ideas and,
It'd be really fun if the heroes thought they were signing up for a hero team and then they go on their first like tryout ride-along mission and they realize it's a supervillain thing.
Right.
I was just thinking that'd be a fun lead-in for like a Hero High adventure.
Yeah.
Or they could, the heroes could go undercover and try and join and go to the tryouts.
It's reminding me of those like Legion of Superheroes audition issues.
I love those.
They're so good. I really like Abracadabra too, mostly because of the pun.
Right.
All right, now for those of us who are not so immersed in the character development and the folks that you're talking about, we talk about abracadabra.
Oh, abracadaver.
Cadaver.
Yeah, see, talk about
This-
a cadaver.
Yeah, this works because we've been asking all of our guests what your favorite magical villain is.
Right. And without even prompting, here we are.
I mean, my favorite magical villain is Hades, but I used him in a stream last year to really good effect.
Lay out cadaver for me.
Yeah, so Abracadaver, he's the zombified version of a stage magician who's come back to get revenge on all the people who tormented him in life.
Become a better zombie.
And become a better zombie. I really like his name. I really like just sort of the shenanigans he gets up to in the hands of a good GM.
Yep.
He's one of those fun sort of fill in the blank wild card characters that you can do weird stories with.
Yeah. Makes an appearance in the first chapter of Nether War too.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
He's putting on a show in front of the house, and you've got to stop all of his lovely zombie assistants before he starts sawing people in half.
Yeah, literally.
I would love to do like a whole adventure like revolving around his antics, but there are just too many adventures I really want to write or produce for this line.
My hand was almost getting to that to-do list.
Don't do it.
Won't do it. We haven't broken the seal yet, but
more Earth Prime adventures.
I'm working on it.
That's already on the list. Yeah.
What we need to do is hire another Mutants and Masterminds developer to handle the books, and I'll just do adventures.
There you go.
I love it. A couple comments. I'm looking here. I see. So everyone's saying that's why the voice is never on the screen, because I'm like a pasty, like moss creature hiding under a rock.
Well, I mean, you're like a pasty moss creature with good hair.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Oh yeah. We have some solidarity with some folks who are like, Alex, you have some fans here. They are calling you master level GM, PL 18 at least.
People are way too nice. They're way too nice to me.
So, yeah,
Alex is also way too modest, because his Origins game was off the hook. It was really good.
I'm sorry,
because I was making it up as I went along, so that's good.
Well, yeah, that's the best part about it was that you couldn't tell.
Well,
that's right. I mean, that's where
that's
where the skill meets the artistry, and that's the kind of fun stuff that I think people come away with lifelong memories of those experiences. Are you primarily a person who runs games for other people? Are you able to engage and play, or have you
primarily I GM, and I mean that's my favorite place to be. I learned how to play games when I was 11 years old as the GM. My dad handed me and my brothers the 3rd edition starter box back in 2002, and he said, "You can't play D&D with me, but go have fun with your friends." And they all looked at the role of Dungeon Master, and they're like, "Nope, that's you. You're stuck there." And I've been there ever since.
Yeah. In my experience, gamers have an orientation either towards DM or player, and although you'll often have people who will do both, it's usually one or the other is sort of their niche.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm choking on laughter here. One second.
And I find at least myself.
Oh, Alex, we're losing you.
Yeah, I find with myself at least that I just have a little trouble.
Oh yeah,
switching out of my brain and just enjoying it.
Yeah, I hear it. As somebody who's primarily a GM, it can be tricky sometimes.
I mean, I go back and forth, but I'm also bisexual, so of course.
Right.
I wonder who was going to go there, but no, yeah.
Troy was trying to avoid saying tabletop versatile, but let's just do it.
For those of you who have not seen Alex GM, he runs Titan City, or I've completely blanked on the title.
That's correct. It's the Titan City Chronicles.
The Titan City Chronicles. Thank you. I kept wanting to say Titan City Empire for some reason.
Not yet.
Which is a like pulp noir superhero game over on Twitch, which I caught a little bit of the last adventure in. And like Steve says, you are a ton of fun as a GM. You've got a fun crew put together. You've got some great intros made for it.
How long have you been doing the Twitch thing?
So I did Heroes Incorporated last year, and that was my first sort of foray into live streaming GMing. But me and a bunch of my friends just started the Untold Stories project. We're on our second stream with the Titan City Chronicles, and that was the first product we put out in the world. And the idea behind the Untold Stories project was that we wanted to showcase games that don't get as much love as we think they should, especially like Mutants and Masterminds. We have a werewolf apocalypse game that we're going to be starting here in a couple of weeks.
Fun.
And we wanted to create a space for voices that don't get quite the audience that they should. Also a place to speak. So we have an audio only show that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. That is a bunch of teenage girls learning how to play D&D or learning how to play Pathfinder for the first time.
Yeah, that is
There's a lot of cool stuff.
How are you distributing that? Is that is it still kind of through Twitch, or are you doing more of a podcast format, or?
So that's going to be an entirely podcast format. I'm not sure exactly where we're going to put it up, but when I have more information, I'll share it here.
That's fantastic. We'd love to hear all about it, because we're in alignment, providing opportunity for people to kind of meet them where they're at and enjoy playing tabletop roleplay games. But I'll tell you what, spend about 5 seconds on TikTok. They are all over tabletop roleplay games.
Our marketing person was just talking about TikTok today.
It is, yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting. It was sort of this thing I discovered as I was, there are some beautiful things about TikTok, and then some also just really, what in the world is happening? I'm an old, but man, tabletop is really a big deal. It's a lot of fun to watch. All right, so let's see, we covered, did we talk Rogues Gallery? And then we have,
we've got a ton of Alex's work in the upcoming Danger Zone series and more in Vigilante's Handbook, but I have not even begun to develop those yet. So do you want to talk a little about Danger Zones? I assume we'll have you back on in a month or two once that line starts to talk about it in detail. But
I mean, that would be awesome. I'm definitely open to come back. Yeah. So the Danger Zones, I'm really excited about that. Crystal had me do some of my favorite buildings. I got to do the library. I got to do the Science Center, and I sort of took inspiration from a big landmark here in Columbus, Ohio, where I live. COSI, I don't know if anybody's ever been there, but it's awesome.
I have fun.
I had Warehouse, which really hit me right in my noir sort of skylight breaking bones.
Right.
I had theater, and I had office building.
Yep.
Which that was a little less exciting, but that's my day job. So I was happy to sort of be sitting at work looking around like, how could a supervillain come in here and beat all of us up real quick?
I assume there's rules for like slamming somebody down on the copier and how many copies their face come out.
Oh, that would have been a good idea. I should have done that.
But yeah,
Crystal called me out for the library because I put a big Page Master reference in there. Speaking of weird fiction stuff that I'm a fan of.
Hey, I want to say real quickly for our friends in the chat, I have just missed a whole host of your comments and questions, and I want to say that you are all lovely little smartasses. So if I miss you, it's only because Facebook is not updating it so quickly. Yeah, no, Alex, you have quite a strong fan club in here, and well earned. I do want to say that the notion of running a audio only sort of introduction for young girls to kind of engage and have some fun has really moved some people. Like it's a thing that they wish that they would have had. Back when they were growing up. Jay Gray, thank you so much for dropping those links, sharing your website, alexanderwrites.com. Lots of good stuff in there. And okay, all of these questions are just going to make me start laughing again, so stop it. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the Danger Zone. It is so brilliant. It is so fun and phenomenal.
It is.
They're already here, Troy. They're already going to buy our products.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta gush a little bit. It's one of those opportunities that, here we are in this world of like, we get to make really beautiful, creative, fun experiences that are just so different, but this is so innovative. How many different people, Crystal, worked on Danger Zones?
Oh, I don't have the list in front of me, but because it's a small, because it's mostly like small articles, I used it as an opportunity to recruit a bunch of new writers and try a bunch of people out. So picked up at least 6 brand new writers for it, and also extended the opportunity to a bunch of our established writers. Steve wrote a couple of installments of it as well.
Yep.
I wrote one, was going to do more, but Steve picked those up because I was overworked.
You?
Yeah, I know. Hard to imagine, right?
Crystal works too much?
I did not come here to be attacked.
But yeah, no, I think that is one of the things I really love about the whole concept. I mean, just those kind of vignettes and opportunities to sort of be in those spaces and try out like a parade. I mean, like I love it so much. But it's also opens the door to kind of fresh voices and then it's such a good idea that even, kind of the old grizzled veteran like Steve, who's 150 years old, wanted to dive in and do this stuff for fun.
Yeah, Steve was gaming back when all we had was steam powered dice.
Yeah, they were heavy.
Don't joke about that. I really want steam powered dice now.
Noisy, I think. Yeah.
Kickstarter next week.
I want them to, like, when you roll a natural 20, to whistle like a steam engine.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll call it, the humidity system. Sounds miserable, but
gonna have to use waterproof ink on your character sheet.
I want to remind everybody to drop your questions, and I knew that was happening because I looked and I'm like, why isn't anybody talking? Now we have 45 new comments.
Oh.
So,
Wow.
I'm gonna. Here's a question from DT Sketchbuccino. Will we see? I just wanted to say that name. It just felt really good. Will we see Titan City products in the Superlink program?
I'm not sure what the Superlink program is.
Well, it was the name for our third-party publishing program for second edition. Now we have the
Super powered by M&M.
Yes, super powered. Thank you.
Actually, I could talk about that a little bit. My publisher for my novels has agreed to help me produce third-party M&M content for Titan City.
Nice. I'm a big fan of Mutants and Masterminds content I didn't have to work on.
Right?
Yeah. I'm working on a Club Tartarus PDF just to sort of get my feet in the water, which is it's the bar at the crossroads of reality where anybody from anywhere can wind up and have a chat with each other.
Very nice.
And it's sort of the nexus of supernatural activity in Titan City.
Did you find your experience working on Danger Zones helpful in working on that as a location?
Yeah. I'm actually combining a couple of things that I've learned from Danger Zones and from Rogues Gallery. So I'm going to have a few NPCs attached to it that are specific to that location, like Mr. Powers, the guy who runs the bar. And I would like to do a map, but it's kind of hard to do a map of a pocket dimension space that moves around a lot. But I'm going to do sort of like an iconic map. And then sort of some adventure ideas that you could tie into that, or how to connect it outside of a Titan City story. So if you wanted to plan it into your own setting, anyone from anywhere can wind up there. So it would make sense to me.
Right.
I'm seeing the Lost and Found box from Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah. No, that would be, it's sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
Cool. This is great. Thank you, folks, for sharing all of this intel on Steve. We've got the parade route links to that stuff. Yeah, I mean, honestly, everybody.
Do we have a link to the parade route already?
Yeah. How did that happen? There's a question here, and you brought up the magic word, Alex. Anytime someone talks about maps, we have to ask the question about maps. And Apuku, I think this feels like a trap for some reason. I think that knows that bringing up maps will nerd out on maps for the next 3 years. But
Mhm.
so will danger zones have 2-scale maps included?
Danger zones will almost all of them come with maps. There's one that doesn't have a map, but it's also a free preview, so no worries.
Right.
But all of the rest will come with maps, and we're working on translating those into virtual tabletop assets as we speak.
Apuk,
Oh,
you
that's
literally released the map monster.
I like maps.
I love maps too. I
We
think
showed
that's-
off my sketches last week, and I may have a problem.
It's a good
yeah.
problem to have.
Yeah, it was literally looking at the sketches and we're like, okay, I mean, like, that's really good stuff.
Mhm.
Quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes and you can't see them, but I'm doing them with force.
Half the reason I got into tabletop gaming is because I have such a, I mean, can I say fetish?
Sure.
I have such a
Sure.
fetish for maps and floor plans. I've been
Mhm.
collecting them since I was a little kid, and
Yeah.
A reminder to folks, I'm sorry, Crystal, a reminder to folks in the chat, do drop your questions in there. I gotta find a different way to say that. I was watching our stream and I kept saying do drop, like do drop, and
Mhm.
it was weird. But yeah, we're definitely here to answer your appropriate questions. Oh, shoot.
ask Alex your questions. Ask Steve your questions. Just
Mhm.
don't comment about me.
Yeah, just ask inappropriate questions. We're easy.
Right.
Maps are absolutely amazing, folks say. And then Poop says, release the map Kraken.
Mhm.
Actually, I was gonna volunteer a challenge for Alex. Do you have your dice handy?
Oh, I have an online dice roller handy. I don't think I have my dice with me right now. Oh no, wait, I do have a set of dice with me, I think.
Hey, grab a D6, and we're gonna give you a quick GM challenge here.
Oh boy.
I like where this is going.
All right, roll me a D6. Tell me what you get.
All right, handy dandy D6. I got a 1 because of course I did.
All right, roll me another D6 and tell me what you get.
I got a 5.
All right, so pitch me a scene where Arctic Fox attacks an office building.
Pitch you a scene where Arctic Fox attacks an office building.
So for those who don't know, Arctic Fox is one of Alex's villains in Rogues Gallery.
Favorite
He's
too.
a mercenary who has weather control technology, who is specialized in fighting in Arctic conditions. So he makes everything into Arctic conditions.
In Soviet Russia, weather comes to you.
He's like Snow Batman.
He is like Snow Batman. I think that's exactly what I sent Sean Azaxi when I was like, this is the art I want. I want Snow Batman.
Snow Batman.
Okay, so Arctic Fox is attacking an office building. If I was building the scenario, Arctic Fox would need a reason to be there. So I think he would be trying to lure somebody to the office building to assassinate them per his contract. So he puts the weather machine up on top of the building, begins a blizzard downtown, and he has a number of Arctic Fox drones causing chaos in the streets nearby. Arctic Fox is waiting in the office building for the superheroes to come. When they arrive, they find that Arctic Fox has 4 other robots that look like Arctic Fox, holding various members of the office building hostage. They start picking off the robots that look like the Arctic Fox, only to find out that the Arctic Fox has actually disguised himself as a robot to throw them off and to ambush the hero that he needs to take out specifically. Because he's very much do the mission, get out. So he would try to take that hero out and then escape as soon as that hero was incapacitated or in the dying condition.
Mm.
All right.
That's
well,
what
nice.
Unflappable. That was great. We got to do more of these surprise sort of, now do this thing. Couple comments from the chat. Jacob Blackmon says, Crystal, I share your addiction for maps and scenery. That's how I plan my game sessions. Jessica Kale says, but I like Crystal's hair. I want to talk about it. So that's on the agenda. Jonesy says Crystal Cartographer needs to be an NPC villain, and I actually 100% agree. That is, we're getting mighty close to a to-do list item.
I gotta say, having a name that is also a common noun in the industry you work in is a real hazard.
Yeah.
One of Wes Schneider's, my old boss's, last things he did before we parted ways professionally was rearrange a product so that the giant crystal and the brazier for like an equipment list were next to each other out of alphabetical order.
Mm-hmm. Just so it said Crystal Brazier.
Yes.
That is
Because-
awesome.
Specifically, it was giant crystal brazier.
Mhm.
I love it. That's awesome. DT sketch.
This had no direct relationship to you parting ways professionally, did it?
Oh no. No, the bruising is why we parted ways.
Ugh.
DT Sketch Pacino says we need M&M miniatures or pawns. I think that's like the third time that's been mentioned.
Yeah, we've talked about both like virtual tokens for tabletop, and we've talked about pawns because gods know we've got a lot of art when it comes to character figures.
Plenty
and
of great
things like
body
that.
shots.
And it's one of those things that needs to eventually sort of float to the top of the to-do list as far
Yeah.
as that goes, or we have to get Crystal an intern.
Ooh.
I love it. Jessica Kale says, "Am I the only one who pictured like a sentient office building?" You are not
No,
the
but that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tick fought those.
That's right.
Right.
Let's see.
Picturing an
Nicholas
office building that runs on the tears of the people who work there.
Right.
Oh, too
You
Too
have
close.
just described my entire career in video games. Harvesting the tears of players and colleagues. Sean A. Vieira, a dear friend of ours, after reading Free Danger Zone, any thoughts on a book of NPCs like that old Champions product, Normals Unbound? Oh, yeah. Could
I think
be
in
filled
the
with interesting non-villain characters to help fill out scenes.
Mhm.
Like a
I
parade.
think you'll find a big chunk of Danger Zones is going to be a giant collection of useful
Yes.
NPCs, both named and unnamed. So,
Yeah.
So like Grandma.
but
or-
I do love Normals Unbound. I have it on the bookshelf behind me, actually.
Wow, folks are just engaged. So happy that you're here. We have, let's see, Jacob's talking about some art. We also have, a request for Crystal Cartographer would be a supervillain that has a tablet where they can capture physical locations and trap the locations into the 2D map on the tablet. I like where this is going. I really do.
Mhm.
No, a bit more of sort of a brainiac thing of like,
Oh,
capturing
yeah.
and shrinking things.
Like mapping things.
And they can
Translating
release
them into
inky map icons of beasts and rocks to attack heroes. That's really
Oh.
smart.
Or just
DJ,
tracking
you
with
gave
a
us you gave
tablet.
us that idea for free,
Right.
Jay, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
stolen.
thanks, Jay Gray. Don't mind if we do. Jessica Kale says, "Oh wait, real question. Any way we can get an M&M tag for Twitch so we can probably?" Yes, we can do that. That is something we are embracing this streaming culture with gusto. It just means that some of the things are a little
with
backwards.
gusto, but not with a lot of skill.
That's right. Yes. But
Right.
forward and with force nonetheless.
That's the title of my autobiography.
Forward and
Gusto, but not a
force.
lot of skill. Yeah.
Gusto,
Gusto,
but not a lot of skill.
skill. The Alex Thomas story.
Story.
Again, I literally, we have to watch all of these and remember all the good T-shirt ideas because they're all over the place. But yeah, absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up and shaming me live on stream. YouTube also.
That's what
yes.
Troy is here for.
That's is to absorb all the shame. That's my superpower. So let's talk a bit about what do we have coming up that people haven't seen and we haven't quite maybe dug into?
Well, now is a great time to announce our surprise Pride Month product with
Right.
2 days left in Pride. We're releasing a free preview of Danger Zones, or at least it's free for Pride, the parade route.
And it has been officially released. The harbinger of that release was Jonesy.
Well, very nice.
Yeah, so it's up on Drive Through RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And the link is in the chat, but I do also believe, I think we've got is the Ronin Roundtable up talking about that?
No, because I haven't written it yet.
We just like to do things. We like to change up the order of things.
No, we had a Blue Rose one go up today.
Yeah,
that's right.
Blue Rose needs love too.
Right.
That's true. Very
It's
true.
a great book. It does need a lot of love.
But yeah, so happy Pride to everybody in the last remainder of the let's see. Oh yeah, Take Care sketch. Let's see. Might we see some Death Trap style locations in the new books, like from the old Marvel villain arcade?
We talk about it a little bit in some of the danger zones. Like the amusement park talks a little bit about how you turn an amusement park into a deadly gauntlet and like repurpose the animatronics into killbots. And but
like you do.
We don't have like a big collection of death traps. So I'm just gonna make a note.
There it is.
I know a lot of people like having those hazards like specifically statted out.
I do too.
Yeah, there's a great resource, I think, in the Game Master's Guide for how to
There
create
is.
your own. But I do think that people love the idea of having a list that they can just plug and play with.
Yeah.
I love it. Jessica, I'm so glad. I will take the fact that I am pronouncing your name right, and I will own that today with pride, because that's not a thing I do.
It's June. You should be doing everything with pride.
Right.
Very true. Very true. If only for a couple days, because it really has, my pride has been really sort of absorbed with Wrath. So
yes. Yeah, it's a good month for Wrath too.
Right on.
Wrath.
Yes, we're all looking forward to Gay Sloth Month eventually.
Oh God, yes.
I feel like
I believe that's January.
For me, I felt like it was last month, like just sort of like a lot of snacking, a lot of pajamas.
Well, that's Gay Gluttony Month. You're getting them confused again.
Oh yeah, see, I am dealing with this small little dog that I'm gonna squeeze and hug until he's quiet. Hi, little buddy, come here and sit on my lap.
That didn't seem ominous or anything.
I know. Yeah, he just likes to wait until I do a live stream and then come yell at me for talking to people that aren't him. Come here. Let's see.
You can't say dog and then not show us the dog.
Oh yeah, you want to see the pup?
Of course.
We always want to see the pup. That's like the first
Puppies
rule on
are
the
big
internet.
money in streaming. Sorry.
We have a lot of cats on our stream.
Video is it working? There he is. It's little Gibson.
Oh,
face.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know why I'm dressed like a French burglar, but there you go.
I was gonna go Beetlejuice, but sure.
Sure.
Thank you. Beetlejuice is much better.
Oh.
But Gibson's a good boy. He is a Chihuahua / Jack Russell Terrier.
That must be high energy.
Yeah, right.
Very high energy, and he was a rescue pup, and his breath is wow.
No.
Potento. Let's see. We've got Sounds Like My Cats. Jay Gray says, I've been looking, but I don't see a supplement for medieval time period for M&M. Would that be a thing you would see yourselves writing?
Well, there is a brief supplement for the medieval time period in the Time Traveler's Codex. Which is available now in PDF. It's just gone to print before anybody asks. So we've put down the down payment.
Right.
It will be printed. So there is that. If you're interested, there's a second edition supplement called Warriors and Warlocks. I want to say that is a very good rundown on fantasy comics and how you translate the mechanics of heroes of mutants and masterminds to fantasy game tropes, and it's it's fairly easy to convert up to 3rd edition, but it's not something we have converted to 3rd edition yet.
Jay Gray, you see, you're one of our top fans, and we had that locked and loaded for you, and we're just waiting for you to ask the question because you ask and we provide. Oh, good deal. Yeah, yep. So we've got some folks sharing some other resources. Alex, I am curious for folks that want to develop both their sort of prowess as players and their kind of DMing skills. What are some of the things that you can offer, as advice? As I'm going to go ahead and take care of this dog, but I'm curious. Like, give us some of your wisdom.
Yeah, I'll speak mostly to game mastering, since I think that's sort of where my personal expertise lies in. If I had to give just the most general advice I can give about game mastering, be confident. You are the one putting the hard work into crafting a story, preparing the maps, and all the other incidental behind the scenes stuff that the other players don't have to do and may never even notice when they decide to go off the rails and go follow this one NPC you put in the tavern for them to pass by. But believe in yourself. You are the director, referee, editor, conflict mediator, and cat herder. And if you have that confidence, the other players will notice it, and they'll have a good time. That's it, and that's infectious. And I guess the other thing I would say is feel free to borrow elements from other stories. I know there's a lot of ask on DMs to sort of come up with their own unique ideas, but I don't think there's been a new story since Gilgamesh, and that was a reboot. If there are tropes or styles of story or characters that you love and gravitate towards, feel free to fit them into your stories. Make sure that it's something that hey, I really like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to put something similar to that in my world for the players to interact with. Just have fun with it.
So Alex, you're a fairly, at least in my experience, low prep GM, and you're good at winging things when it comes down to it. When you find you are doing prep work for your adventures, where do you find you get the most mileage in terms of things you're really glad you prepared versus, wow, I wasted time preparing this?
And if I can add an addendum to that, because it maps to the questions for GMing, where do you fall? Lots of prep or on the fly or something like the lazy DM method?
I think I do a little bit of prep. For some reason, my convention games, I know the deadline's like a year in advance, and I still don't do as much as I would like to.
All right, I did not come here to be called out.
But I think the prep that you need to do to have a good game is be willing to say yes and. So know that if a player presents a crazy situation to you, you can make it seem like it was part of the script the whole time, and they'll never even know. They'll be like, oh, that was a good idea, and you can just take credit for it. But the things that you definitely need to have prepared are the motivations of the people who are doing actions in the story. So the motivations of the villains, particularly for superhero stories, because the villain tends to be the proactive character in the story, where the heroes are more reactive. Know what the villain wants, what they're willing to do for it, and then you can improvise how the villain is going to react to certain setbacks and certain successes throughout the story. I'll usually have like a bullet point, like this is the stuff I want to cover in this game. So we spend some time in this scene, and then I think about, okay, what would be some possible next steps for people? So I don't do a whole lot of flavor text except for in the Titan City stuff, because we want to do that audio only as well. So I want to make sure that, listening to us just talk without seeing our faces or the maps, it's going to be something that you could still follow along with at home. But think of the flow chart of how things are going to go and the motivations of your villains, and you'll be good to go to make up anything you need to make up on the fly.
Hey, for the three of us, or three of you rather, I'm one with you now. Tell me about where do you fall on how much theater is too much theater?
Wait, there's such a thing as too much theater?
Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen too much theater.
Right?
I might have seen a couple. but
I
yeah,
think you should remember who you're talking to.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, but that there are definitely folks who really spend a lot of time being very theatrical and very sort of, and sometimes it comes out of left field, like you'll kind of see, and it's fun to watch, and other times it's just sort of like, what is this person doing? But yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I think it can either be incredibly exciting or very intimidating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the line is when it starts to turn into a game master as one person show, sort of a thing. The players aren't there to listen to you monologue, ad infinitum, as far as that goes. So I mean, it's good to be descriptive and to be evocative and to have a sense of drama and all of those things, but you also have to take a breath and let the players, decide that they're going to do something.
If the players start making choices, they'll ruin my
They'll
carefully
ruin my
crafted
perfect story.
Yeah. That's the trick, isn't it? It's not your story; it's our story.
Yeah,
exactly.
Here's a related question from Braden Fullington. Related question: as someone new to the system, who wants to spread the word to new players, what book, scenario, adventure is your favorite place to start newbies in M&M?
We have a wonderful beginner's guide now, the Basic Heroes Handbook, to start new players off. And I think it's a terrific introduction to the system. It eases new players in. It provides a lot of really useful examples. And it sets up a really simple process of character creation that provides some real actual choices for the player in terms of how the character comes out that are still simple and straightforward. So if you're trying to introduce especially a new player to Mutants and Masterminds, that's the place to start.
100%, and I have to tell you, there is a crew of folks, community members. You really, by and large, in all of the places, the spots on the internet where the Mutants and Mastermind community get together. Wow, there's just a crazy amount of people who are there to help. Like they really want to help train and teach and. Yep. I'm thinking about Pook, and we just wrapped up our session, and it was a blast. And I do believe that he was much easier on the noobs, it was a lot of fun. And so I highly recommend making sure that you find those DMs that are really into creating that experience for people. It's very thoughtful. And there's Jonesy with the links. Thank you so much.
And I will say, Troy, there's a particular brand of Mutants and Masterminds players who are dear to my heart, who are, who love character design, and every group has that player who is like, oh, I'll design your character for you.
Yeah. Yep.
Sort of a thing. I'm that player most of the time. So it can be a useful, because I understand that in its fullest expression, M&M character design can be intimidating.
Oh yeah.
So if you are in a group and you have an experienced player who loves designing characters, by all means, let them at it.
One of the things that's interesting in our sessions with Pook and folks, we're using Roll20, and I'm a fan. It's really fantastic. Now I heard, and I believe it was in chat, or I could have entirely hallucinated this. Is there going to be a big update to Mutants and Mastermind stuff? Are we releasing a bunch of content? Are we aware? I know that we've been working with Roll20, and that they do have some updates planned, but we just work on it. We don't know what's happening. So if
we are the worst possible people to ask about technical aspects of the internet.
Yeah,
absolutely. True. But you want to hear about maps? I mean,
Oh yes,
you came to the right place.
You want to hear about which which Freedom League characters are dating, then we are happy to help.
Ooh,
That should be a stream all itself.
The Real Housewives of
Right. I mean, if you want to hear our discussions, like looking at art, what all the characters are thinking, we're great at that.
What do you for the three of you as industry folks, as people who have run a lot of games, what do you think the sort of the average prep time for a good game is? I mean, like, is that even
depends a lot on the game.
That's going to vary by player and by GM and
right.
And
Well, I mean, for example, talking specifically about Mutants and Masterminds, if I don't have to design any of the villains or major characters from scratch, prep time is pretty short. I can prep for an M&M game in under an hour.
You heard it here first, folks.
But it depends a lot on whether or not you are actually building game system stuff and designing things as part of your prep.
Yeah, and I've been super lazy with M&M before and had a villain whose entire stat block is their name, like a few words of personality and complications, and their power level. And I just roll their power level for everything with a vague understanding of what their powers do.
I'm glad I'm not the only person who does that.
Nope. That's actually one of the great cheat codes of M&M.
Oh yeah, I've got a stand-in villain who pops up every now and then as like the most punchable face in my campaign setting, called Mississippi Queen, and her power is to control mud.
I love her.
And her only stat block is that I know she's power level 9, but she thinks she's power level 15.
Now I feel attacked.
Awesome.
No, hey, Sean
Vieira
corrects me. It is Fantasy Grounds, not Roll 20.
Okay.
Thank you for the correction, but they have a massive update to Mutants and Masterminds rule set dropping tomorrow. And yeah, moves from dead to live. That's exciting.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's exciting. I use Roll20 for my streams, but Fantasy Grounds seems cool.
Yeah.
I've not had the chance to professionally check them out. I should go check or take a look.
Yeah.
Hey, do any of us spend time checking out the Reddit scene for Mutants and Mastermind? I don't. I haven't gone. I mean, I've talked to some folks there.
I'm not a big Reddit user myself.
Yeah, that kind of passed me by. Yeah.
I'm not typically a big Reddit user, but I have been spending a lot of time over there answering like rules questions and interacting with the community because we've been posting a lot of Untold Stories ads over there, and I don't want to seem like we're just adding. Just marketing.
Right, yeah, they hate that for sure. But Jay Gray leaves a link in the chat that folks will want to check out to Mutants and Masterminds /r Mutants and Masterminds wiki /getting started. Sounds like a great place. But yeah, really active community and lots of dialogue going on over there. But yeah.
We lost everybody.
I know, right?
Let's see. Prep live stream. Are there any plans to update Lockdown to 3rd edition?
Not particularly. We talk a little bit about Lockdown and the facility in Freedom City 3rd edition, and a little bit in the Super Team Handbook when we talk about Project Freedom.
Yep.
I love this. Does everyone have a punch villain in every game?
Everybody should.
Everybody
Pretty
should.
much.
Yeah.
All right. Quick question for everybody. Most punchable officially published villain?
Anvil.
Oh, I like punching Anvil. I would have said that.
Right? That's what I'm saying. He's fun to punch.
I think Elric, the guy who owns Selfie, is the most punchable.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
In my last campaign, it was Lord Etheric.
Oh, my players love to hate Lord Etheric.
Yes, because everybody hates him.
Yeah, my wife just off screen snorted when I said that because she knows exactly who I'm talking about.
Let's see. Jessica's really honing in on the hair. Excuse me. I'm getting all choked up about it.
I'm gonna be honest with you, it's all dye.
Jessica says, "Wait, Crystal, I want to see that purple bow that keeps popping up."
It's just a little hair bow.
Just something she threw on.
It actually is. It was in the bathroom while I was doing my makeup, and I thought, why not? And threw it on, and yeah.
I mean, to be honest, your hair does have its kind of own fan club, and they have demands. Let's see here. Okay, so
I mean, that seems fine until you start reading the fan fiction.
Right. Hair raising.
Oh, boo. The idea now, and the fact that you said it will make it so if I have to write it myself, I'm gonna wig you out. Sean Duggan says conundrum. And
conundrum.
Conundrum's super punchable.
And Nightfire, the white supremacist ghost, that seems like someone who could deserve a punching.
Yes.
But yeah,
I'd like to put Nightfire in adventures specifically so people can punch him.
Absolutely.
Lord Etheric.
Yeah, for Hero High, I like Prince Rokar from the Rogues Gallery. His whole concept is he came to Earth because he's better than everybody on Earth. So kind of begging for a punch.
Jacob Blackman says shipping Crystal's hair with William Shatner's wig.
Already.
The age discrepancy there is just inappropriate, sir.
Well, you don't know how old the wig is.
That is true. 50 Shades of Hair dyes.
50 Shades of Purple.
I love where this is going. And you know what's so funny is I was 100% like, boy, we could do this all day. And I realized we've reached the end of the program.
And yet.
We have, and Apu says, beware, that's where tribbles come from.
I can never stop being the developer on Mutants and Masterminds now, because the second I leave, there's going to be a purple-haired Medusa ripoff.
Yeah,
just to appease the fans.
I think that there will be a demand because again,
the fan service.
Yeah, the hair fans, they will not be ignored. But hey, Alex, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. We this is a highlight of our week to be able to kind of chat and just have some fun and to talk about opportunities and doing tasks and things that we will probably get to in about 5 years. But the fun part is having folks like you on so that we can just kind of talk about all the people that make Mutants and Masterminds the community that it is. And
thank you guys so much for having me. I love M&M, and I think everybody should get the chance to play it.
Alex, before we go, do you have anything that you would like to pitch or share about stuff going on in your world?
Yeah. So please, anybody who's watching tonight, please join us tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing Titan City Chronicles Episode 3. We're about halfway through the story arc that we're telling. So we're going through that, and then we'll do another story arc and another story arc. We're trying to keep them as like nice short stories instead of having 300 and 500 episodes like Critical Role does. And you can find my book, The Magician's Sin, on Amazon.com. And there's a lot of good stuff from Titan City coming out next year. I'll have 3 books come out in 3 months. So it's going to be crazy.
Nice.
Congratulations. That is work ethic.
Thank you. I'm hoping I hit the deadline.
Ow.
Crystal, Steve, anything you'd like to share before we
go ahead and check out Danger Zone's Parade, which is available now on DriveThruRPG and greenronin.com.
And while you're at it, drop by the Green Ronin site, check out the new Ronin Roundtable on Blue Rose and the Flight of the Snow Pearl, the new Blue Rose adventure that just releases this week.
Ooh, nice.
Can I throw in one more thing?
Yo, please do.
So everybody who's in the chat who doesn't have it already, make sure you pick up the Basic Heroes Handbook, because until July 6th, it's on sale, and $10 of every sale goes to Black Lives Matter, Seattle King County.
There we go.
Alex, that is
That's a great
phenomenal.
plug. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. And yeah, my thing is, remember, we are all meeting later this evening to flesh out the Crystal's Wig fan fiction. Great ideas so far, and a couple of them, absolutely, we will not be doing that. But hey, everybody,
All right, I'm officially naming the fans or the fan community Wiggins.
done and done. To all the Wiggins who have been watching, thank you so much. You have you make our Monday. It's really a lot of fun, and we love to be ridiculous. And we leave with more tasks because we leave with love. And truly, truly appreciate it. Happy Pride to everybody. Thank you again, Alex. Thank you, Crystal and Steve. Always a joy. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you next Monday. Oh, you know what? We'll see you actually next Friday for Fiction Friday, where we get to hang out with Jane Gates and talk about Nisaba Press, which is our fiction imprint. I'm excited about that. Cool. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.